Hello, everyone. How's it going? It's Thursday. It's exactly a week since I've been super sick. Um, getting better, but still, like it must be the C word, right? I think it is. It's been too long. Anyway, there will be some shaving and there will be some like getting better happening in the future. I said I'm not doing sports algorithm stuff anymore, so of course we're in the middle of a sports algorithm video here on December 1st. And that's because I've been paid today. I've been paid $450 today to do college basketball and NFL work. And when I start getting paid that kind of money, I absolutely will do it. It's days that go by that I don't get paid anything, and I wonder why I'm doing this. So there's no guarantee, there's no monthly subscription, none of that is happening. But once in a while, when people ask me questions, I will answer them through video, and that's what's going on today. So let's talk about NFL briefly, really fast. Um, Thank you, Ben, by the way. I will go and have bourbon with you in Georgetown at some point. Appreciate it. Ben sent some money, made me wanted to review football here. There's a game tonight. We're not going to talk about the other games, but we are going to talk about tonight's game. We're going to look at it in this view where we see that it is at the bottom. I've just updated the injury report and it's saying 20-20 tie between Buffalo and New England. So, well, what's happening here? And can you put any faith in this projected score? Because the win score percentage, the thing that most people like the odds makers and stuff essentially are using, really think that Buffalo does win this game and probably wins it by a touchdown or something. So the way to know is to dig in through the Proj pivot sheet and to open up the team and to see if their player rosters look correct. Like, is Bailey Zappi actually going to play? Like, what happens if we remove Bailey Zappi completely? Because we're adding a little bit of a contribution of him in this game. Let's get rid of it. Let's get rid of Bailey Zappi, Bai Zap. So now when he's gone, if you go back and you refresh the score in the projection pivot sheet, it goes 2019. Like things go sway a little bit more in favor of the Bills, right? So you could also check the Bills and say, well, what's going on the Bills lineup? And do they have anybody we want to potentially remove? They've got Josh Allen. Case Keenum has no rating, hardly any snaps. Stephon Diggs, great player. Tyler Bass is their kicker. Gabe Davis is a name I don't really recognize, is also putting up really good numbers here for Buffalo. So other than that, it looks like it's okay. All right, looks like it's okay. I'm going to throw Bailey Zapp back in there because you actually do want to put all the quarterbacks in because it shows a nice distribution of how much they contributed throughout the year. And that usually helps with projected scoring. So the consensus is that this is a 2 to 3 score game at a magnifier of 5, and we've been using magnifiers of 5.5 until just this week because I saw these scores are just so out of control that a lot of these players have more stats now and we have to bring the magnifier down. But it's giving it this like barely 3 score and a field goal type game. So it's predicting something like a 24-21 probably, type score right along the over under. The line is not good for Buffalo. So the spread pick says the Patriots plus 4.5 because it thinks that this game is only separated probably by a field goal if it's really close late. So, but very tough game to play. So that's just my opinion on NFL, the Thursday night game. I, of course, am not betting. I've not bet since I said I'm not going to bet anymore, and I'm not going to bet anymore. I'm very happy not betting. But you can bet. I mean, you can do what you want. So speaking of betting, college basketball. Ask about college basketball. It is the best sport to bet on, even though I'm not betting anymore. I was also asked, like, how do you really prune this list to see what's a premium pick? And now that we are out of the crazy holiday tournaments that were going on over Thanksgiving, where every team was playing in a third party location or a neutral site, and they weren't true home games, a lot of that, I think almost all of that has stopped. And these are actually true home games, which means it's time to apply at least a 5% home bump again. So you put a home bump up here in the college basketball algorithm and it moves stuff around. And now you say, all right, where are my home teams? Home teams are here. And the only underdog is, looks like it's Kentucky. And no underdogs, actually. The best line is Northern Kentucky at home against Youngstown State, but it's only a 4.2% margin, and that's after the 5% bump. So it's a very, very close game. But Northern Kentucky probably wins because home teams win in college basketball. So how do you use this to say what's the most solid picks? If you just had a couple where you really wanted to focus on, which in many ways I do agree with you there. Like this UC Davis over Pacific, it's a minus 260, but it's up here at a 21% margin. And so if you're talking about just wins and losses, the chance that UC Davis loses this game is small. It's like they're probably going to win this game 3 out of 4 times. That's the way, or even more, because the algorithm usually hits like 90% of home favorites above 10% margin. This is with a 5% bump, so I want to call it a 15% margin when we're looking at it this way. But when there's no bump, it's really a 10% margin, which means all these teams right here, they're all basically like there's 8 of them, 7 of them at least are supposed to win. That's mathematically what I'm telling you. Problem is none of those are at good lines. You can see that Davis is minus 260, and that's the best thing on there. So let's back up again and look and say, is there anything else to play here that's reasonable? Well, your Purdue Fort Wayne is only minus 175, and that's a 12% margin after a 5% bump. So that's close, but it's minus 175. The even money is on Northern Kentucky, but also really close. I wouldn't expect that to win 9 out of 10 times. I would expect that to win like 7 out of 10 times, probably, which is still a winning proposition if it's even money at plus 100. The rest of them, you can see they're all favorites. And the reason why they're all favorites is that we're a month into me doing the algorithm and the odds makers are figuring stuff out. And so things are starting to look much more like the algorithm straight down when it comes to odds. And as we do more work on the standings distributions, it's going to even look more and more like the odds makers eventually, because they're messing around with this and trying to do a better ratio than I have just thrown together at the last minute. And really, we need to do some regressive work to get these distributions optimal so that these games are in the proper order. But I'm going to be doing other stuff also, like payroll and tax. I did do Connecticut tax for those who were paying attention to that. I decided to not follow their laws, and I will discuss what I'm doing with Connecticut, and I will drive to Connecticut and talk to them about it because their tax is ridiculous. Anyway, so what do you do today? Well, you can take advice from a guy who does not bet anymore if you want to, and that advice would be like a parlay between Purdue Fort Wayne and UC Davis to try to pay even money. And if those 2 home teams lose, you had a bad day, but the algorithm usually wins with that stuff. That's the way I would put it out. And if you want to bet on home teams, you're going to be throwing your money away. Which means like, all right, well, don't bet on if you want to bet on away teams, you're going to throw your money away. If you want to, don't bet on away teams, bet on the home team, right? Except you don't necessarily want to do that because sometimes those away teams win. But what you really want to do is bet on home teams that the algorithm says win. Everything except for Stephen F. Austin, it's only at a 73% health. Let's refresh our injury report, make sure it's current. I think it is. Except for that one, if you're doing a huge parlay, Arkansas, Murray, Wofford, Connecticut, UC Davis, Belmont, Kansas. Wright State's got a really bad strength of schedule here at minus 800. So this is suspect all the way down here. Like when you see a minus 800 way down here, you don't want to take it. You can see how they're all up here. So it's like this, it's like these do. Oregon, really? Oregon over Washington State, minus 190. Cleveland State against injured Oakland, right? These are, I mean, of those, that's 10 games. I'll be astonished if at least 8 of those don't win. Meaning if it goes 7-3 on those 10, I'd be like, wow, that's a bad day. I think it goes 8-2 or better, probably 9-1. There you go, guys. So that's a quick video. I'm off to other stuff. Thanks for compensating me for this work today. It makes it worthwhile. All right. Good luck. May all your picks be winning. See ya.